All right, what I'm going to do here is demonstrate how to convert a set of HDR series of uh, exposure bracketed images uh, automatically from using Photomatix Pro. So I'm going to use the files that are in this Challenger Falls directory. What I did was converted all of the images off the camera, the raw images, to TIFF. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just select the first series. So this is straight on the meter. This is -2 and +2 exposure. So I have ACDSee Photo Studio set up to open other editors, and one of them is Photomatix. So those are the three images. Right now I'm going to not select anything here just to make this go much faster for demonstration purposes, but in reality I would reduce chromatic aberrations and noise. I would do all those things. So what we're doing is we're just going to try to define or select a preset. And so what I could do is I could start at any starting point and then edit, change these sliders and then create a preset down here. But for these purposes, I'm just going to select this photographic preset. And then what I want to do here is I want to use automate batch processing, and I'm going to select the folder. I've already gone and done this, but you would navigate to the right folder, and this is the right folder, Challenger Falls. And then what I want to do is I only wanted to select the TIFF files in that directory. And it's going to collect 3 images at a time because each exposure bracketed stack is 3 images. And then I'm going to have Photomatix deposit the results of this operation that I'm doing here into a subdirectory under the source that I selected here. And this is the source directory, and that is the correct place. I wanted to output 8-bit TIFF files. And so that's it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the preset. So you just click on this, and I had already selected photographic. And now, do I need to align the images? I don't think I need to do this because they were shot on a tripod. All right, so here we go. This kicks it off. And what I'm going to do at this point is I'm just showing that it's loading the 3 images, it's merging the HDR, and it's using the photographic preset. And so from this point on, I'm just going to speed up time and speed through this. And we'll be back when this is done in about 2 minutes. Okay, so now I'm going to go, we're back to normal speed, and we're done with Photomatix. It's done its job, so we can close this off. We don't need to save the project because we already have the images. This is what was created, a subdirectory under our source. Remember, our source was Local Pictures Working Panos Challenger Falls. I like to go here and change the name of the directory to specify the preset that I used. And in this case, I used photographic. That was the name of the preset. So let's go into that directory and look at the resultant images. And so these are our images. And so now what I'm going to do here now is I'm just going to take these images and I'm going to bring them into Photomatix Pro, because I took these images were actually a 360 panorama. I know that I shot it with the Rokinon fisheye lens. Okay, these 2 images are actually taken at a different viewpoint. So I want to do a viewpoint optimization for those 2 images. And now what we should do here is mask out the pano head. And so the way that we do that is we use the mask tab, which only shows up on the Pro version. And this is another opportunity where I could speed up time. So I'll do this one at normal speed. So we're just going back and forth on painting on. If I hold the shift, that's how I get straight lines. It's a little bit of a shortcut. So I'm going to do this one in real time, and then I'm going to speed up for the rest because it's basically all of the same. So we select out in red pixels. We're creating a closed section, and then we hit the F key and it's fill, and then we fill those in. And then we also need to get rid of the shadow of the tripod, and so we're going to get rid of the tripod's shadow in all of these images and the panoramic head, so that what we're doing by doing this is we're telling PTGui not to include these pixels from this particular image. What the heck, let's get rid of, there's a little bit of a shadow, there's probably me there. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is just walk through each image and do essentially the same thing, but I'm going to speed up time to do this. Now, close inspection of these two nadir images that were taken off the viewpoint, off the no parallax point, image number 15 and image number 16, since they were handheld and I was trying to shoot HDR stacks or exposure bracketed stacks, the camera was shaking. So as you can see, these are blurry, so I can't really use these. So I'm going to get rid of these two source images, and I'm going to show a different way to clean up the nadir. So here's 15 and 16, and I'll hit the delete key. We'll remove those from the project. They've been removed from the project. Let's look at the masks. All right, so masks are all set, and we're good to go on those. So let's go back up here and do align images. And now basically what we're going to do is create a panoramic that's going to have the pano head masked out. So there's going to be black sections where the pano head was. And so we're going to have to figure out a way to fill all of this in. And there's a couple things we can do there, and I'm going to walk through what we can do there. So let's create it. Let's actually create the pano. We'll put it in this same directory. I like to work in TIFF. So let's just do it. We'll create the pano. This shouldn't take too long. I don't think I need to speed this up, but if it's taking long, I'll speed it up. Yeah, a little time-lapse magic was needed there. That took several minutes, much longer than I thought. Just for safety reasons, I'm going to save this project. It's going to put it into the same directory. I don't want to redo the masking again. Okay, so we're gonna close. Let's see. Do I want to close this off? Yes, I want to close this, and then let's look at the generated file. So we're going to use the PTGui internal viewer because it's a TIFF file. Okay, so pretty well done. There's some things in the sky that I want to clean up. These little lens flares. There's a way to clean this up, and since I need to do sort of a special thing to fix the nadir here, I could also clean up the sky and clean up these glares because my nadir pictures were blurry. If I would have looked closer at these, you can see obviously they're blurry. We saw that in PTGui. Okay, so now what we can do is we can open our completed pano in PTGui again. We don't need to add any other files. Now what we can do here is under Tools, there's something called Convert to Cube Faces, and we can add our file. So I was in the wrong directory. Challenger Falls, Photomatix. So here's the file that we're looking for. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to create 6 more images that were each of the front, back, left, right, top and bottom. So here, let's do it, and I'll show you why we're doing this. So we're extracting the cube faces of that pano. Okay, so that's done. We're done with auto pano. We're done with PTGui right now. We don't really need to save this project. Okay, so what was created is the stuff down here, right? So there's these 6 images that are selected. We can see there's 6 of them, and they're named the original panel's name, and then dot back, bottom, front, left, right, and top. So obviously this is our nadir image. So let's take this, and this is now just a TIFF image, and we're going to edit it. And what we're going to do is we're just going to clone, because this is a pretty easy one to fix, right? So there's no pixels here because we told PTGui don't include any pixels for the panoramic head. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go into the repair tool, and this is just I'm just going to use the clone tool, and I'm going to put a little bit of high pressure on here. I'm going to do a little bit of feathering, and basically what we're going to do here is just kind of paint on, this is normal, normal clone tool type editing, and it's just an illusion really that we're just going to kind of mix it up a little bit, and I have kind of high pressure, 75, 74 for the pressure. And then I kind of like to mix it up a little bit. Sometimes it's nice to do a blended clone after doing something like this. Okay, so that looks, good enough. I like to change the size, and I'll probably reduce the pressure a little bit, and so anyway, so now we have we got rid of all the blank pixels, and now we just want to save this. We'll say done. I'll just save it right directly on top of the same file. So I'll say save. I'll just overwrite the file. And let's go back out to manage and look at all the images. Okay, so that's our nadir. So I also said that I knew I was going to be extracting this as soon as I saw that the nadir images, that these two images couldn't be included in the PTGui project. So I knew I was going to have to do this. So let's actually clean up some of these other flaws. Well, they're not really flaws, but they're some irritations here. So back to the repair tool. For sky elements, I tend to like to go. I tend to like to use the blended clone, and then cloning tool, and then what I do is I just let it sort of clean up. And it's using, well, I don't know how it does it, but it does some sampling of pixels, and it does a better job than I could do it directly using the cloning tool. So so basically I can go through all the images and do similar operations like that. I'm doing this sort of quick and dirty right now. Done. I'm going to save on top again. That's sort of the pattern I'm going to follow. I'm just going to go through each image. We've already done the nadir image. That's the nadir image. Let's get rid of these. Go back to the repair tool. Just normal clone editing. Go to about 50%. I tend to like to do that. Blended clone for skies. Normal stuff, right? We're just cleaning up some of these glares, just kind of make it look a little bit better, a little bit more presentable. I see these things and they bother me when I see the image. Okay, so that's all we need to do for these. I mean, we don't have to get too crazy. We're just kind of, it's just an example of the type of editing we can do. But since I did it on some of them, I might as well do it on all of them, right? So there's only 6 images. We've already taken care of the nadir image. So, and as you can see, I usually go to somewhere between 50 and 60% for this. Or I don't know if it's not yeah, it is a percentage. So we don't have to get too crazy, but these little splotches kind of bother me. So I tend to like to mix it up a little bit, and select certain sections from. Okay, good enough, close enough for physics, I like to say. Let's save that on top, and then after we do this, and this one's clean enough, and then these I'd like to clean up. So let's go back and we'll do these. Okay, zoom on into 66%. take care of these. And usually you want to go pretty close to you want to sample pretty close to where you're repairing, obviously. I mean, this isn't really a tutorial on using ACDSee Photo Studio, but while we're here, might as well do it. Let's go down a little bit lower. So that's good. I mean, I could spend some time like working on this section and clean this up, but you know, it's good enough, right? So here we go. All right. Now, once we've saved all of our images, all right, so let's go back out to ACDSee Photo Studio. Now what I can do here is I can select these 6 images, go back to PTGui open up PTGui with those images, and now we're going to go directly to Create Pano, and what it'll do is it'll create a brand new panoramic, and it's called Reconstructed. And I'm just going to use the defaults on everything else, and I'll just let it go. There we go. I don't need to save this project. There's really not much to it. And so here's the new panoramic 360 panel. Let's take a look at our handiwork now. Okay, so first things first, the sky looks a little bit cleaner. And now let's take a look at the nadir. And there we go. Nice and clean. I mean, we know that we hand edited that, but yeah, it looks pretty good. I mean, you don't really spend a lot of time looking down there. I just saw some of the glare points that I probably could have fixed here, but I mean, you get the idea. That's it. That's how you do it. Well, that's how you make a panoramic where you extract the cube faces and then manually fix the nadir. But what if we wanted to fix the nadir using another image? And so what I was trying to do in the last example is what I'm going to show here. So I have another set of images that I took. I've basically done everything that we demonstrated in the last part. Imported them into PTGui, and then I actually masked all of the images, so I'm not going to step through that. We kind of did that in the last video. But then the last image, this image was actually taken of the nadir, and it's essentially the same vantage point as this, although I did have to move the camera on it, so it's on a different viewpoint. And so what we do is right click here and we say enable viewpoint optimization for this image. And this could also have been done in the optimizer in the advanced settings. We make sure that we have all control points. We're going to use all control points for all images, but then we would go down here and well, you can change this to optimize. So what we want to do is optimize for viewpoint. And so in this image was taken off the no parallax point. And so because I haven't generated control points yet, I haven't clicked this align images. And align images does a number of things. And one of the things it does is it generates control points. It optimizes the project. It deletes bad control points. It does a lot of stuff under the scenes. But essentially, it's the thing that really puts the whole panoramic together. And so by telling PTGui that this image was taken off the viewpoint, it'll do a different type of optimization. So let's take a look. Let's do it. So take a few seconds, not too long. Okay, so it generated the panorama. This was done again on a well-calibrated pano head, and it was leveled. But let's take a look at the preview. And what we're most interested in here is looking at what it did with the nadir. And we're going to see that, and of course we're not actually creating the panorama, we're just creating the lower resolution preview. Let's open up this a little bit. And so here we got a clean nadir. And the way that we did that was by making sure that this image that was taken off the tripod from a different vantage point, we make sure that we enable the viewpoint optimization. So that's it. We now can go and create this. This is actually in a different directory because it's a different project. But that's it. So let me stitch this one. Okay, so this was a little bit more of a complicated nadir than the last one, so it would have been a harder to hand edit that one. So now let's look at the actual generated. This is the newly generated. This is the full resolution image that we just stitched out, and looks great. And see, the nadir in this case is complicated, and it's a brick pattern, and so it would have been more difficult if we would have extracted the cube faces and tried to do what we did in the last example. And so this is the really the way to go if you can. I couldn't do this in the last example because I had shaken the camera too much and those images were blurry. So that's it.